the problem of this race is not just a technology race, it's not just economy race, it's not just military race, it's also a value race. It's a race between two values, between a part of the world that revival the old Oriental despotism with leading by China, Russia, and this revival today is drawn by the digital Silk Road, China Digital Silk Road, DSR road. And even if America, US, 2 years ago, I think, they set the ban to ban selling or providing China with the chip, with the chips. The problem that this did not stop the DSR, China Digital Silk Road. This Digital Silk Road today count more than 40 countries that signed agreements with China, including South Korea. This is not just a digital initiative, this is a foreign policy agenda. But this race of AI technology race between US and China, we find ourselves in front of lots of paradoxes and lots of dilemmas. One of the paradoxes is that US who provide China with chips from one part. From the other part, China, the Chinese AI surveillance toolkit is highly demanded, of course, mostly by autocratic regimes, but China provides also other countries, liberal countries. The Digital Silk Road include some also liberal countries. This Digital Silk Road is a part of the initiative, big initiative, Chinese initiative, One Belt, One Road, that includes some EU countries in it. So having autocrats in it is not surprising. Having EU countries like Italy, Portugal, Greece, Cyprus, etc., that make the discussion. Here we have the map showing how the China DSR, Digital Silk Road, how it is growing since 2015. Now, as I said, it counts more than 40 countries have been signed bilateral agreements with China. Next, please. And here we have this map showing the One Belt, One Road initiative map that today includes 146 countries. And the DSR is just a part of this initiative. This initiative is also a revival of a dream, the dream of the giant, the Chinese giants, the dream of the historical Chinese empire. So this, those initiatives could be technology, it could be economy, but in reality are a foreign policy agenda. Can we see, please, next? Yeah, so as I said, this race between US and China put us in front of a question: will AI technology, and especially the surveillance technology base, will foster democracy or autocracy? So, as I said, this race is not just geopolitics, it's not economy, it's not military, it's also a value race. Today, we are in front of or living in a bipolar ideologies battle between two words. One word said, I'm the free market technology, or I'm the free market values, and the other word said, I'm top-down technology. But let's say something. China and co, with technology based on autocracy, I think they are more relaxed in their sneakers. The problem is with the word that consider itself free. This word had lots of trouble issue between the speech and the practice, especially with the double standards problematics. As I said, US sell ships to China, then put a ban against the Chinese technology. From one hand, from the other hand, this year, Bloomberg reported that US officials have asked Saudi Arabia and Emirates to divest from Chinese technology to US technology. Of course, US knows very well what Saudi Arabia and what Emirates are looking for. But they said, divest from China, we will be the provider. Why? Because they cannot let this market, this geography, the geopolitical geography, parts of the world to China. Middle East is kind of like classical inheritance. It's ours. It's US. It's about extended US foreign policy. So we cannot let China dominate the technology there, or will be the only or the first provider. So it's a question also of AI today. Is AI race for supremacy and global hegemony? Next, please. So with this map, we have this map shows the AI surveillance tech providers. So you can see the blue, it's America, US, and light red is about Chinese technology, and some parts adopt both. And that explains really that we are in front of a real geopolitical race with foreign agendas that bring us to the question of ethics. Next, please, Reza. Question of ethics. This is why I call it ethics dilemma. Why? Because in front of us, well, when I draw this ethics dilemma, is not to become pessimist. No, it's just to face the reality. Then we can solve better this problem. So we are ethics. We talk about ethics. Everybody now is talking about ethics, but in front of ethics is facing agendas, interest agendas, hegemony, supremacy, economy, military, keeping our allies, etc. So we can detail all those notes in our discussion later. But let's quickly go through this dilemma aspects. Please, can you back, Reza, quickly? Yes, so we have semantic ambiguity. We have unethical and unclean data problem. We have global and local economic market interests. We have the military industry using more and more AI. We have the implication of AI and geopolitical race. We have north-south inequalities gap that will increase more and more. We have the proliferation of tech, AI tech, and speedy, but the advocator of ethics run behind. We do have problem of engineering ethics versus the business mindset, profit, lobby mindset, etc. And we do have increased demand of AI surveillance systems from, as I said, both democracies and autocracies. And the biggest problem is the vacuum of legal mechanism to regulate the chain of responsibilities. And of course, the interest agendas of groups that supposed to be stakeholders to advocate for ethics, they have very diverse agenda, so they don't match. Now we can, but still can think and advocate for strategy for applied ethics. What I mean by applied ethics means we need to have a thinkable strategy, measurable, methodic, that apply dialectics to hypothesize all the risk scenarios and manage safety answers. This strategy should be outputable. To be outputable means we need to scientize ethics, not anymore talk about ethics as just like moral speech, but as a science. And everybody knows that ethos in the beginning is a science of moral. So we need to be outputable, so we need a scientific approach. This strategy for ethics should be also benefitable, means we can make benefits from it. And here I join Reza with his paper or thinking when he said, a model trained for low bias actually delivers higher performance. And I add, higher performance means high profit also. So it is possible to talk also with the business or firms to say ethics means also profit. So this strategy should have multiple aspects or workshop filled. So we need to work on different aspects, the legal aspects, the data ecosystem, cross-functional teams and institutions for research and RD. Please, next. We should all the way down keep in our mind contextualizing ethics, means ethics is a part of reality, is not just part of a dream. We need to be conscious about culturalism versus globalism. We need to talk about, to convince firms and VCs, ventures, capitals, about engineering ethics, moving from the model, classical social media business model based on surveillance and stealing data, to an ethical data politics. Of course, many stakeholders should be involved: companies, scientists, academia, policymakers, the users themselves. Users themselves, they should be involved in such action or acts, sorry. Civil society, of course, media, and we can talk about other stakeholders like artists or schools for kids. So we can detail all that. And to sum up, for me, a safer AI technology is not cut from a safe word itself. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Arroub. Does anyone have any questions? And Riza,
can I say something? Please, everybody call me just Hind. No, Dr. Arroub.
Okay.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. I'd like to put your hands up if you have any questions for Hind. We've got some time to take those questions.
Sorry, Raza, I don't think people put my hand up, but I do have a question.
Go ahead.
Hind, that was very good, excellent presentation, and you've raised many issues. I wanted to mention to you the EU AI Act went into force last week or this week, and there's been a lot of pushback from the US venture capitalists that this will be bad for the AI development. I feel this is completely wrong. I think, yeah, the EU, once again, as they did with the GDPR, are going forward in a way that everyone should be going forward. But I just wondered if you have any thoughts on that. And before you answer me, I'd just like to mention to everybody that the work Hind is doing in Berkeley is very important, and we're trying to fund it by a crowdfunding system. And I'd like to put a link into the chat. That's not a problem, Reza, with the link to Hind's GoFundMe site. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, and Marcus, you can also place that on Slack if you're connected there. Or yeah.
Where should I put it on Slack?
Let's see. Go into the general channel. That's got about close on 500 members in the general channel.
Excellent.
So
I'll do that. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. And Nicole, your hand is up.
Well, first of all, Ms. Hind, fantastic presentation. I love the focus on ethics. It's something I haven't gotten to interact with very much yet. So my question might be a little basic, but I guess really what I'm curious about is, with all of this in mind, Do you know if there's any movements towards trying to create a dialogue between the two leading forces, the US and China, to try and find some mutual ground over the values issue? Because I'm with you. It's obviously a big void between two different cultures that have a hard time communicating. So is there any like movement towards bridging that gap that we know of?
Excuse me, Reda, do you want to gather the question and I answer, or do you want me to
No,
answer?
you can answer this one straight away.
Yeah, so yeah, of course. For no, there is no. I don't think that actually there is a movement to try to join efforts, because it's really two extreme parts, and the problem that there is economy and military, and just in the point inside. The one that can do that is just civil society, but I'm not aware about any official ongoing discussion. Just maybe activists can do that, or any scholars or scientific. But also, the scholars that worked and for China, they cannot talk or speak, because the ethics standard, China standards, exist, but it matches the party state standards itself, and everybody scholars or scientists or advocate, they have to advocate for this agenda. So today, no, this is what I say, it's completely a vacuum area, and that needs maybe just people who believe in values and ethics just go ahead and create something beside far away officials.
Well, I think that we're all human beings, and the one thing that human beings are very good at doing is communicating and finding a way to cooperate. So I have faith that maybe in the future, fingers crossed, and looking forward to seeing some of those opportunities open up. So
yeah, sometimes the fact that they are nobody for the moment, both are leading sometimes, and when it becomes so tight, they discuss.
Yes.
So maybe they have to achieve this point where they become tight. For Marcus, yes, I'm aware about AU project law. It is considered actually one of the best for AI to protect the values and ethics. But I still need myself read it in a professional way to be able to analyze it and say more about. But
absolutely, it's a hard question.
Yeah, my first reading for this law and first reading for some reflection about this law says that it is positive, but I still myself need to read it in analytical eyes.
Okay, Hind, let's take one question from Matt, and then we can move on. There we go.
Thank you, and thank you, Dr. Arroub. That was fantastic. I'm curious how the strength of these very, very large multinational companies, primarily U.S. based, but these very large entities, how does that affect the East-West dynamic, the U.S.-China dynamic? Can Meta or Microsoft or Amazon or Google impact this in any way positively or negatively, and how's that playing out as you see it?
Well, always we know that multinationals, they were always considered it's just like a kind of any state arms outside. So I don't think that they have their own strategies. They are under the state strategies. For example, the case I brought about the countries when US asked Saudi Arabia to divest or switch from Chinese technology to US technology. Of course, US will bring its own multi companies to Saudi Arabia, and already Microsoft and IBM got to the market in Arabia. So I don't think that they will work against US agenda. They will work into the US agenda. So the multinationals are linked directly to state agenda, and that's what China is doing through DSR. So definitely the multinational, you can talk to them, you can talk with them, but they are not applying anything apart the state agenda they have, because the state find the market for them.
I see.
It's a foreign policy.
Thank you very much. Very interesting.
Hind, thanks so much for presenting, and also thanks for picking up on one of the papers I wrote. It was published by SMPTE, Society of Motion Picture and Television Engineers. It was titled "How to Engineer Ethics into AI," and I was right in the middle of that. I was running real networks development in China. And up until the pandemic, I was making monthly trips to China. And part of one of our developments was to build the equivalent of the Ring doorbell, but for enterprises. So, so now instead of a badge entry, your face is your badge. Of course, that required computer vision silicon. And the computer vision silicon comes from that region. You could buy them from mainland China, but typically they come from Taiwan. Now, we know Taiwan is a separate country from China. However, there's a very porous border, and it's a porous border of technology and of talent that goes across there. So we were prohibited from, for instance, we had to stop our dealings with Kwaai, which is a mainland China company. However, we could deal all we wanted with the Taiwanese entities. And so while we can put embargoes on the technology in China, it's a very, very porous embargo. What works out in the end is to solve I guess the engineering laziness that creeps into AI developments, and that laziness, I don't think it's necessarily maliciousness. It's laziness that results in models that are biased. It takes a lot of effort to create a training set that's truly representative of your domain in which you're going to apply AI. So if it's facial recognition, make sure your training set isn't just of 80% white males, that you've got some female representation and females of color as well. When we looked at a lot of the Chinese technology, the models that were trained were highly accurate, but highly accurate for faces that came from the Greater China region, because they were trained on their passport database and on their visa database. So you could get highly accurate models, but when you apply them outside of their domain, the accuracy drops off. What we're doing in Kwaai is trying to enable a responsible AI program where vendors measure their AI models and publish nutrition facts. And it's not only the vendors that do this. We want users of the models to be able to do that, so that we can actually crowdsource those nutrition facts, which are it's a US term, but it's the same way that you have transparency in the food system, where you know what the ingredients are of it. So look, I can rant on about this. I want to thank you so much for coming on to the Kwaai weekly public meeting and sharing your research into AI ethics. We want to stay in touch with you. Thank you also for joining Kwaai. That's great. As an advisor, I'd like to continue the dialogue in our Slack channels, in our work groups. And we'd like to see you as an active participant in our policy work groups. So thank you so much. I'm going to pass back to Sunity to get us back on onto the agenda.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Hind. So now let's move on to our work group updates. Can Annie please update us on the Pi Assistant front end?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Well, we have been working so far in the APIs that we are going to use in the front end. And also, like, we still have to do like some updates regarding the AI, the front end of the Pi Assistant, and regarding the feedback we have been receiving, like from the last meetings. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, please. Oh, and yeah. Also, we are going to start working on the integration of the vector store.
Great. Thank you so much. I got a chance to see your the roadmap, or at least the plan to the end of the month. It gave us a lot of confidence that we're going to get the beta at least in the hands of some of us by the end of this month, and then released early September. So we said we would get the beta out in Q3. Well, look, we're in the middle of Q3. As an organization, we have to deliver on our promises. And it's not just promises to ourselves. These aren't fake promises. We've gone and made those promises now to a number of universities and colleges that are expecting us. I'll talk more about the beta program after this. Thank you so much, Annie.
Thank you, Annie. Can we hear from Sam, Ms. Sam Johnston, about the Pi OS backend?
And Sam might not be on the call, so I might cover for him, or I might ask Robert Benning. Robert, if you could cover for Sam. Sam's actually in Paris watching the Olympics, so well-deserved break. Robert, could you give us an update on what's going on?
Yes, we're still working on quite a few things on the Pi OS, trying to get everything implemented with the new SQL Alchemy database, understanding the open API calls, and integrating the assistant as one of the abilities within the OS itself. Sam was out most of this week, so some of that stuff is kind of been a little bit on the back burner from that perspective. But we are getting very close with the authentication system as well for the OS, the passwordless authentication using WebAuthn, which is an open source protocol for passkey authentication and login. So that should be done in the next coming week, and then it's all just about integrating and creating new abilities in the back end. Anybody can test that. It's on our GitHub repository. So if anybody feels like playing around with that, just hop on there and test it out.
Fantastic. Okay, so let me give you an update on the beta. You can go to the Kwaai website, click on the beta tab here, and you'll see what it's all about. It's a closed beta that we're going to run in academia. This is a stepping stone to where we think AI will go eventually, but it's an important stepping stone. It allows us to test out and get many, many more people to kick the tires on our AI platform. What is the AI platform that we're building? We're building personal AI. As Robert mentioned there, it's a personal AI operating system. It's a framework on which you can build personal assistants. What do these personal assistants look like? Well, here are 3 examples. You can go and play with them today. This is Lumi. This is the archetypal FAQ bot. And this is the bot that you can load up with policy documents. You can load up with policies and procedures, maybe your employee handbook. You know, these are typically the large documents that you signed an agreement on, that you will abide by these policies. Let's say when you're onboarding to a new company and you never read those documents. Now you can actually talk to the documents. You can actually ask questions of it. It makes it more accessible. This is useful for individuals. It's also useful for small businesses. The middle use case is in a university context, you can imagine a celebrity professor that's well published. In this case, it's Bruce Schneier, and he said, hey, can you create a bot that's informed by all of my writing? So he gave us a Dropbox link to all of his textbooks, 14 textbooks, and a huge list of essays. And so now you can have a conversation with that body of knowledge. This is an important use case of how you can use a chatbot to have a conversation with a body of knowledge. Here's a more practical and closer to the heart use case: the virtual teacher's assistant. This comes from solving the problem of my wife Ruth. Ruth's a professor of English at a local college. Professors get essays at 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night saying, hey, can you tell me what the prompt is for the essay assignment, this assignment that's due at midnight? And it's the way of things that these students, they actually expect an answer. So these are the 3 use cases. This is now a 24/7 student-facing chatbot that's informed by the course curriculum material, and they can play with it. I won't give you a demo of it. It's live and running. This is the POC, the proof of concept that we actually published in Q1. We're now working on the beta, which is going to be something where you can run in a multi-tenant environment. You can run it locally on the campus with no need for cloud access. The data stays local. You're not divulging that data to one of the SaaS providers. It's an important stepping stone to our vision for AI. It respects the intellectual property rights of the owner of the content. In the case of the Penny bot, the virtual teacher assistant, the owner of the content is actually the professor. It's not the college, because typically instruction is done by part-time staff, adjunct professors that are only paid for their teaching time. They're not paid for course prep. So that intellectual property belongs to that professor, and they should be able to take it from institution to institution. So this is a very different vision of a personal assistant. It's not the co-pilot that your boss tells you to use to make you more productive. This is your tool of the trade. It is an encapsulation of your own knowledge and skills, and you should be able to take it with you job to job. So we approach personal AI from a personal point of view, very different to corporate AI. And Doc Searles has written extensively on the difference between personal AI and personnel AI. Okay, so as we said, here are the objectives that you'll be able to achieve if you want to bring cutting-edge personal AI to your campus. Just click this button at the top here, and you can do that. So far, we've got 20 applicants, 20 colleges have applied to the program. We're looking for 30. So get your alum. If you're an alum of a college, it'd be great to find someone inside that college who can champion this and would want to bring that forward. But let me tell you, we are enabling those colleges, a broader population of colleges, to participate. We initially said, okay, in order to participate, your college needs to put into its data center or light up in its own on-campus infrastructure a GPU server that can host the AI. And then we partnered with iBridge and SwissVault that said, hey, we'll take on that load. For those colleges that can't afford the GPU hardware, we will underwrite that infrastructure. And so we worked with them for the last few weeks on getting a GPU cluster up and running in their data center. And I have to say, it runs fantastic. fantastically fast. It's faster than the AWS instance, maybe by an order of magnitude. Whereas Lumi over here would take 5 seconds to return an answer. In the iBridge GPU cluster, it takes 0.5 seconds. So this is fantastic. And it turns out that their infrastructure is lower cost than AWS. And we can talk more about how they achieve that, but it's a fantastic step forward. And iBridge is one of a number of data centers that are networked together by high-speed fiber, and so we can imagine this as a stepping stone to our vision of what would be a digital public infrastructure. It is that is not the traditional cloud to client topology. Okay, so we've now got 20 odd signups. We've got Harvard signed up, Rutgers signed up, Boston University. Thanks so much, Robert Binning, for getting us the University of Texas. We're in discussion. They haven't signed up yet, but they will do. University of Waterloo in Canada. Cornell. Oh my word. Cornell actually was so eager to get hold of the software. They said, let us just take it straight from your GitHub repo and we'll build it ourselves. And they got it up and running, and it's running in their lab. And so this is what we're doing. Okay, so let me Suniti, why don't you get us back on schedule here? Thanks.
Thank you, Riza. So I think Myra is out of the meeting. I'll provide an update on the back office automation then.
Thanks.
Yeah. So this week we have been experimenting with new workflows for our back office automation, and we have been using the Slack Premium and experimenting with it. We have made significant progress towards automating many processes, and we are testing these out at the moment. And so stay tuned for more updates from us in the coming week.
Fantastic. Okay, if you don't have Slack access, well, first of all, if you're on the call and you haven't signed up for Kwaai, please sign up for Kwaai. If you don't have Slack access, email me, or and you can email me at riza@kwaai.ai. We'll get you Slack access. It's important to be part of the conversation. The conversation is not just this weekly call. The conversation goes on during the week. And the results of those conversations, it's hundreds of hours of recorded material that's up on YouTube, that's on our that's accessible through Slack. So these work groups are super important. Let me give you an update on the PyPalooza, which is the hackathon series. I don't think we've got Carsten on the call because he's super busy. The first hackathons kicked off at the Googleplex. It's running now this weekend. I would have been there. Unfortunately, they rescheduled it from a couple of weeks ago. Otherwise, I would have been there. Actually, they rescheduled it from last week. And in fact, I was up I was going to connect that with my trip to Sacramento, which I did on the Monday. I would have been at the hackathon. But show them support. Go to the pypalooza.org website, sign up for the hackathon. Go drop in if you're in the Bay Area, go drop in at the Googleplex event and show support there. And go see if you can help out on one of the other hackathons. It's an ambitious multi-city hackathon series. It started off where its essential focus would have been on personal AI. They've had to pivot a lot and tailor it to whatever the local needs are. And so Robert's going to be at the one in Austin. I know that John Connor was also managing one. I think there's going to be one in Pittsburgh. No, not in Pittsburgh, in St. Petersburg in Florida. Anyway, there's a whole series of them. If someone can post the link to the PyPalooza website in the chat, that'll also be great. Okay, back to you, Suniti.
Yeah. So That's it for today. Thank you for all your contributions. And if Riza can again give us a quick closing.
Well, let's hear from the community voices
Yes.
here. So
Yes.
new members, if you're new, we'd love to hear from you. Tell us something about yourself. What brings you to Kwaai? And I see there's a whole bunch of new folks. And, you know, if you don't put your hand up, I'm going to call on you. Okay, and I'll take you in alphabetical order if you don't. So I know Ankita is new. Ankita, perhaps you can tell us about yourself and what brings you to Kwaai.
Hey, actually, it's been a week for me, and I introduced last week, so I thought I'm not informed. Anyways.
That's fine. I know you knew because you and I have had separate dialogue. And
Yeah.
thanks so much for participating. Looking forward to your contribution in our work groups. Okay. Abhijit, I think you're also similarly new. Did we hear from you last week? Or
No. I recently joined. So, hi there, everyone. My name is Hind Arroub, and I recently graduated from Georgia Tech. I did my master's there, and very excited to join Kwaai. And I support the open source AI OS program, and also quite interested in this beta program which was introduced today. So, looking forward to contributing here.
sure. Okay. You know, I missed out 2 agenda items. There was a research update from Diego. Diego, I wonder if you're ready with that and give us maybe a 2 or 3 minute update. And then the other one was a research update from Ryan, which I think is very relevant to what Hind spoke about. So Diego, can we call on you to maybe give that update?
Hi, Risa. Hi, everyone. Yeah, I didn't see on the
agenda. I apologize.
agenda.
Yeah.
No worries. So basically, we've been working on this project of implementing a new LLM-based model for drug side effect identification. We've been running these experiments increasingly on larger number of drugs. So now we are working with chat to improve the implementation, actually to cover more drugs. But also, if someone has some computational resources that can lend us to help in this project, it will be welcome, because we have over 1,400 drugs to run the experiments for, but we can only do it now for 200. So that would be a massive contribution for us, and that's it. So we are also working on a manuscript. So if you collaborate in this project, you will be part of the paper.
Would you be able to show us 1 or 2 slides from your research?
Oh, just give me a second.
Yeah. And then Ryan, also, if you got an update straight after this, we can squeeze it in before we wrap. Thanks. So this is the work that's going on in the AI for Life Sciences research group, and it's a very practical application for AI. And what Diego's building is an AI that you can ask if a certain symptom is a side effect of a drug, and he's getting a high level of accuracy. Talk us through it.
Yeah, so this is one of the figures we have prepared for the paper. So the part A only shows the database that we are using is the CIDR 4.1 database, from which we obtain the drug side effect information for marketed drugs, marketed medicines. And then we have different data formats and also a graph format, which we are going to use for graph racks. So then the second part of the figure is just an illustration of retrieval augmented generation or RAG, for those of you who are familiar. And then the last part is how we conduct this evaluation. So for the prediction performance, actually, this is the older version, because the new version of the result, I have it on my, not on my code. But what it shows here is that when you try different LLMs, focus on Llama 3 AB. So this is a small LLM. But still, if you couple with RAG, the accuracy can go from around 50% to above 80%. But the best performing method is graph RAG. So with graph RAG, you are between 90 and 100% accuracy for the different drugs. And I think that's a great result for this project.
Great, thank you so much. And this is it was interesting right at the beginning when you first tested it on vanilla llama or vanilla sort of even Chat GPT, you got like a 50% accuracy, which is the same accuracy you'd get if you were to just flip a coin. So not very useful, especially if you are talking about something that's mission critical, like a medical question. And then progressively you improve the accuracy first by using RAG, and then by using graph RAG. And we're pushing the envelope of sort of research and exploration into AI and how to make AI less prone to hallucination. And I think that's super important. Okay, thank you so much for sharing that. Ryan, I don't know if you've got a minute or two. I know we're squeezing these things in, but you've been making some great progress in the alignment project. And if Ryan's not there, then that's also okay. We can wrap. We got a couple of minutes. I'm gonna ask Randall. Randall, you're a newcomer to Kwaai. Why don't you say a word or two about yourself? And
fair enough.
Yeah,
I met you a couple of weeks ago at the iBridge SwissVault meeting. I'm actually an advisor to SwissVault, which provides some very interesting storage solutions for longer term. They're working with iBridge to, of course, offer lower cost opportunities. So that's how I got interested. I've got a few other connections I want to hook you up with down the line. I've sent out an email on that. So if you get a moment, take a look. There's a couple of calls I want to hook you up with some other folks, with guys associated with the Silo.ai group out of Europe, which was just recently picked up by AMD a couple of weeks ago.
Fantastic. Randall, I will follow up with you. Thanks so much. One more the familiar face on the list of faces here is Phil Lelevelt. Phil, I'd love it if you were to just say a few words. Phil, I met you when you were at Disney. Tell us what you're up to now.
Yeah. No, I'm here because I got the email and I wanted to find out what this initiative was. So I'm Phil Leleveld. I'm at the Entertainment Technology Center at USC School of Cinematic Arts. So we're a small think tank that's always looking for the next new thing. I am personally working on a project at the intersection of artificial intelligence, immersive media, and virtual beings, and thinking about where the opportunities and where the risks are. And there are clearly risks, which is what today's talk was about. So I found this very interesting. Thank you for letting me attend.
Phil, I'd love to follow up with you separately, and we'll have a call and we can explore where we're aligned. Okay, thanks so much. Great. Look, we're coming to the end. There's an after party, the Idea Exchange event. I posted the link in the chat. If you want to go there, this is where we hack on the ideas that were raised in this call. But I'm so grateful for all of you participating. Thank you so much for Hind for talking. We've got a few open slots in August and September for lightning talks. If there's something relevant, I know John, you're on the hook to talk. We haven't picked a date yet, but let's land a date there. And Phil, I'd love to hear what's going on at ETC, and maybe you can come and give a lightning talk and just inform the community of what's going on. Okay, thank you all so much. Happy Kwaai Day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks all. Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.